Welcome to how to set up a pro author website in an hour using only WordPress. My name is Paul Teague. I'm a fiction and non-fiction author, but for the sake of this presentation, I've been blogging since 2008 at paulteague.com, and that blog was created using a WordPress installation. Now, my blog started life as a trial run. I didn't think that I'd keep it up, so here I am 9 years later, still going strong. It's been through several makeovers since I created it. It doesn't look anything like it used to look when I first created the blog. And I currently, at the time of recording this video, have 15 WordPress installations, all sorts of different sites: paulteague.com, paulteague.net, paulteague.co.uk, selfpublishingjourneys.com, selfpublishingacademy.com, and many other projects that I've got on the boil. And all of those are hosted on SiteGround, which I'll be talking to you about later on in this presentation. So first of all, why WordPress? Why not something else? Well, WordPress is what's called a CMS system. That stands for Content Management System. And effectively, a CMS is a database-driven system that doesn't require any kind of technical knowledge once it's been installed. So I would say with a CMS, if you're able to use Word, you can bold text, you can align text, you can add color and things like that, then you could use a CMS system once it's been installed. The only geeky bit, which I'm going to show you today, isn't geeky. The only geeky bit is actually installing that CMS system. CMS is very widely used these days. There's not a lot of point using the old-fashioned websites that people used to build that needed technical people to build them. Before WordPress came along, when I started working on the web in 2001, I think it was, you were shackled to HTML, PHP, FTP, all those horrible technical things that scare the life out of people. You don't need any of that now, really, as you'll see in this presentation. And whenever you wanted to make a change to your website, you generally had to pay somebody quite a lot of money to do it for you. With the CMS system, you don't have to do that. In the old days, you wouldn't have dared even to change an image on an HTML website, but now you can just do it yourself and you don't need to pay somebody every time you want to do something like that. WordPress is really easy to install, very simple to maintain. I'm going to show you how to install it for free today and for a very low price, which will always be my recommended version. Once it's installed, updates and complete overhauls just take minutes. It's a what you see is what you get interface, so no technical skills are needed. And again, I always say to people, if you could use Word, if you could use eBay, if you could list on eBay, if you could post to Facebook, then you can use WordPress. So those are the only skills you need once it's installed. It's used by millions and millions of people, which is why I'm recommending that you use it. It is used by that many people for one reason: it's great. It's the best thing out there, in my personal opinion. There are other things that come close to it, but I think WordPress, all in all, is probably the best one to use for your website. The great thing about WordPress is it has this extensive range of things called plugins. I'll show you those in my live screen demonstration shortly. Many of them are free and they allow you to do virtually anything that you can imagine on WordPress, and usually just a little bit more. The other thing about WordPress is that it integrates seamlessly with popular social media services: Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, all the rest of them, affiliate programs like AdSense, Amazon and ClickBank, and you can add multimedia to WordPress sites, video and audio, and I do both of those very, very regularly. Just in case you're not convinced yet and you think that maybe WordPress is just used by hobbyists, take a look at the screen there. Lots of huge users use WordPress as their chosen website provider. Massive places like New York Times, CNN, Forbes, Reuters, eBay, UPS. These aren't tiny startup companies. These are really big, hard-hitting companies, and they all have invested time and resources into WordPress. Now, the reason that I wanted to do this presentation is I constantly, as part of my podcast, am looking to interview self-published authors, and the majority of self-published authors seem to have these Wix websites or Squarespace websites, and the reason that they go for them, very good reason, is that they're very simple and they look great straight away. But you know, this is not the way to build a business on a Wix or a Squarespace site. You need to be building it on what's called a self-installed WordPress site, and that's exactly what I'm going to show you today. Now, I don't want to go into massive detail about this, but there's a great article, and I've put the web link on the screen just there. And to summarize the points of that article, which I agree with wholeheartedly, it's the best article I've seen on this topic. A WordPress site is future-proof. So if something new comes along, Think about the change that mobile brought. Everybody needs to be on mobile optimized and responsive sites now. WordPress had no trouble whatsoever responding to that change in the web environment. WordPress is future-proof. A WordPress site is infinitely expandable. You can start small with just a few pages. You can grow it into a massive site with all sorts of subsections and lots of multimedia. It's got total flexibility. If it's possible on the web, you will be able to do it on WordPress. That's always the bottom line. If you can do it, if it's technically achievable, you will be able to achieve it via a WordPress site. A WordPress site is portable. And one of the things that sometimes happens when you're hosting websites is you get fed up with your web host. So for instance, I hosted my websites with a company called HostGator for years, and they were great and I was very, very happy with them. But more recently, I was not happy with their support, and so I decided to move my website. So you can't do that with Wix or Squarespace. You're stuck with them. You can't just migrate them and take everything with you. With a WordPress site, and I have done this with my WordPress sites, I've moved them time and time and time again to different web hosts, but I still get to keep the WordPress site that I built. WordPress is brilliant for search engine optimization, SEO. Do a search for Paul Teague on Google and see my blog come right to the top of the search engines. They get to the top of the search engines very, very fast, and I'm going to show you some SEO tricks in this presentation. WordPress has thousands of integrations, many of them, the majority of them for free, but sometimes you can also pay if you want something just a little bit more special. And the biggest, most important thing about WordPress is that you own it. You can take it with you. It's like owning your own house and having the mortgage paid off. It is an asset in your business. Now, I'm assuming as an author, you want to be doing this for a number of years. As your author business grows, your website can grow with you, but you take it with you like a snail with the shell on its back. You own your WordPress site. WordPress detractors will say and moan a little bit about WordPress, especially people who are trying to take your money for some other system. They will say to you, oh yes, but WordPress is not secure. It has a lot of security breaches. And they may even say to you, yeah, but it's very sluggish and it's very slow. Both of those things can be true, but we can solve them with free plugins. Security is not an issue. I've had a WordPress site for years and years and years. I have had one hack. I learned my lesson from that, and I haven't had one since because I deploy a simple free plugin which stops that problem ever occurring. Site speed too, if it ever becomes an issue, you can solve very, very quickly with free plugins. I've actually moved my sites now to a service called SiteGround. This is the service I'm going to recommend to you. They do bespoke WordPress hosting, and that means that your site speed is good. But if ever you're not happy with it, if you think it's sluggish, they have a free service built in, which is called CDN. I don't want to get too geeky with this. Content Delivery Networks. It's a free service, and if you want, you can super speed, you can hyper speed your WordPress site using SiteGround hosting for free. It's just built into the basic hosting. Okay, before we start with WordPress, you need to understand that there are two versions of WordPress, and it is very important that you use the right one. WordPress.com, frankly, although it's very good, is not much better than hosting a site on Wix.com or Squarespace or even Blogger. It is a hosted version of the software. It's free. You don't have to install it. It is hosted on WordPress.com as a domain, so you don't own the domain. Now, sure, you can get your own URL, your own domain name like paulteague.com, and redirect it to WordPress.com, but it is not the best way to build a WordPress site. It is very restricted and limited, and it will not give you the freedom that a self-installed WordPress site will. The self-installed version of WordPress is available at wordpress.org. That's the one that you should use, but don't go and download the software and try and figure out how to install it yourself. That's the magic of this presentation that I'm going to show you. You do not have to do it the hard way. There's a really, really easy way of installing WordPress. Whatever level you are in terms of technical experience and geekery, you will be able to do this. Just follow the steps that you're going to see on the screen. Before I go to a live screen demonstration, I just want to explain the difference between a blog and a website. People get really confused with this with WordPress. Now, if you think about an old-fashioned website built in HTML, that old-fashioned website might have had a welcome page, an about us page, a contact us page, maybe about the staff, something like that. And it would have been what I call a static website, in that once it was built, it would barely change. It was just sat there and gathered dust, and every now and then someone would update it because a member of staff left and a new one came along, but it didn't really change. Now, a blog is something just a little bit different. A blog has all the components of a traditional website, in that my blog has an About Me page, it has a Contact Me page, it has pages on there that just give basic information and that don't really change. But a blog is a living, breathing, organic thing in that we add new posts, new information to it on a regular basis. And in actual fact, the search engines love that. They love the fact that you're adding new content. So a blog is a combination of a traditional website and something much newer and much better. It's organic, you're adding new content to it all the time at whatever frequency you can achieve. But also it has those core pages, About Me, Contact Us, all the sort of boring core stuff that a website needs to have. There's an article on the slides there, what's the difference between a blog and a website, if you want to read further about this. So in summary, a WordPress blog could do everything that a website could do and much, much more. But a website could do a tiny fraction of the things that a WordPress blog could do. And that's why you need to be on WordPress as an author. Now, not many people know how to do this, but you can actually set up a WordPress site completely free. And it's not covered and plastered with horrible adverts. To do that, you need to go to a site called Hostinger.co.uk. You can see the URL on the screen there, and it is completely, genuinely free. Now, there are paid options, of course, but I would encourage you, if you're new to WordPress, to set up a Hostinger account anyway for free. The free account will allow you to have 2 WordPress installations on it. And if you're not familiar with WordPress, I would recommend that you use Hostinger. Just hide your websites, your blogs out of the way and use it for testing and experimentation. No one needs to find it or look at it. You can just practice and upgrade your skills there. And then when you've mastered it on Hostinger, you can move it to a paid hosting account. We're going to move over now to my PC and I'll show you exactly how Hostinger works. Here is Hostinger. And you are going to click on there, start your website in 30 seconds. It's absolutely free. If I just click on the button and show you what that looks like, it is going to take you through to some paid options. Of course it is, they're there to make money, but you are going to go through to that section, the free section, and I would like you to click order. And again, order is counterintuitive because it sounds like you're going to spend some money, but you're not. You've got to go through that formal checkout process, but as you will see, we're not paying anything at all there. So if you could go and do that, sign up for a free Hostinger account. You don't need a domain name, incidentally. I'll talk to you about that on the next screen. Now, when you create your Hostinger account, you are going to have to create a domain name. And this domain name is actually going to be what's called a subdomain. Now, the thing about Hostinger is, although it's fantastic and it's free and it's fully functional WordPress, they are going to give you some fairly horrible subdomain names. As you can see, mine is paulteague.esy.es. That's a pretty horrible subdomain name. And this is why really I only use Hostinger for testing and for practice. That's not a very catchy URL, web address, but as part of your creation process with a Hostinger account, you will need to choose a subdomain extension. As you can see, because I've already got an account, I've got that here already. You will need to create one of your own. What I suggest you do is probably put your name or the name of your business in there and choose an extension there that is fairly easy to remember. There's some pretty horrible extensions in the list, but choose one that's fairly easy to remember if you can. Now, once you've got that subdomain, that's your website web address, we can now go and build a WordPress website. And to do that, I'd like you to click on the installer option on the left hand side of the page. The installer drops down onto your page just like this, and you'll see that we're asked to select our hosting account. Well, I've only got the one hosting account. It's that horrible paulteague.esy.es. And then we're asked to select an application. Now, one of the things that people don't tend to know about making websites is that there are loads of free softwares, ready-made softwares that you could just install at the click of a button. And maybe this is something you might want to explore later on. I'm going to focus on WordPress at the moment, but just to give you an idea of what's available here, OS Commerce is a very well-known e-commerce site. It's free and you can just install it. You can see WordPress just there. What else have we got in here? We've got also forum softwares as well, and several e-commerce softwares and things that do all sorts of different things, to be honest with you. Now, I'm just going to look for WordPress and I'm going to install the latest version of WordPress. So what's happening here is we are installing WordPress at our URL, at our domain name. So all I've got to do there is click configure, and this will install WordPress for me for free. Now, we've got to do a couple of configuration steps first of all, and we don't need to worry about much of this at all, to be honest with you. All of this is just information about the versions of software that's being used. This is the first thing that we have to pay attention to. We're being asked whether we want to install WordPress in a folder. So, for instance, that folder, that link might be my blog. For the first WordPress installation, no, just leave that completely blank. Leave it blank. The next thing is we need to come up with a WordPress username. Now, in the old days of WordPress, this used to default to something like admin. And actually, this was one of the biggest causes of security issues with WordPress, because the hackers knew that most people just use the default administrator username of admin. So they were halfway through getting into your account before they even started. So my advice to you as a very basic security rule is to just come up with something that's a little bit different. Definitely not admin. Some form of your name, maybe with some numbers, but definitely something that you can remember. And then for the administrator password, please make this something as difficult as possible. Try and have some special characters in there if you can. So in this case, just because I'm using this as a test, I'm actually going to put a very simple password in there, because I don't want to forget it during this example. But I would never do that. I use very, very difficult to guess passwords on my WordPress installations. This is something that we can set when we've got our WordPress installation. So you can fill in if you want to, but I'm going to recommend that you don't. We'll fill it in as soon as we get to our proper WordPress installation. All that's left for us to do is to click the install button, and we're off. Just let that tick along, chug along, and in a moment or two we will have our own WordPress installation. It's as easy as that. It takes a matter of seconds. Okay, WordPress is now installed, and you can see at the top here we've got an installed version. It's WordPress, and it's been installed on our basic domain name, our basic URL, the free one that we get with Hostinger. So if I click on that link now, as if by magic, and in just a matter of seconds, we now have our WordPress blog. That is a WordPress blog. Now, at the moment, of course, it has no content in it. We haven't put anything on there. It's not designed the way that we want it, but we have a WordPress blog. It's ready to go, ready to fill, put some plugins and a theme on it. It's ready to change. Now, that is the only geeky bit about installing WordPress. And you have seen that in a matter of minutes, we've done that for absolutely free. Now, why don't I recommend that you stick with Hostinger? I don't recommend you stick with Hostinger because that free website has that horrible URL. Now, yeah, sure, if you want to, you can buy a domain name through Hostinger if you want to, and instead of having that horrible extension there, I mean, we want something like poultig.com, .co.uk, .net, .biz. We want something memorable and professional looking. That really isn't a memorable or professional looking URL. That's why I'm not recommending that you use free Hostinger. So if you can, one of the options is, if you just want to get a free account and pay for a domain name, you can do that with Hostinger. But I'm going to recommend that you actually use SiteGround. Now, as you can see on the screen here, we have a blog. I'm now going to show you how to install a blog my preferred way. Then we'll go inside it and I'll show you how to set it up so that you've got something that you can start to promote. Now, my preferred hosting, and this is after many, many years of trying different hosts, is SiteGround. SiteGround, I think, is just brilliant. It's great for startups, but actually I use 2 GoGeek accounts. So you can see the GoGeek accounts on the right hand side of the slides here. So I've upgraded quite a lot here. I use 2 GoGeek accounts to host my 15 WordPress installations. Now, when you start, all you need is a startup account. That's all you need. It'll allow you to put one domain name, one business name onto the hosting, and it will allow you to create a WordPress site. Now, on the screen here, you will see what is my affiliate link for SiteGround. The reason I'm giving you my affiliate link is that if you buy through that link, obviously I make an affiliate income or I get a kickback for that. But what I've discovered, I didn't realize this, is that if you do buy through my affiliate link, you get the hosting cheaper and you get a free domain name. Now, if you just go to SiteGround.com, and you're very welcome to do that if you prefer to do that, you will not get the free domain name and you will pay slightly more for your hosting. So I'm giving you my affiliate link, not as a way of making easy money, though it does generate an income for me. It is actually the cheapest way that you can get started on SiteGround. If you just go through the front door at SiteGround.com, you'll pay full price and you'll have to pay for that domain name. Now you do your due diligence, but I offer you that affiliate link because it will save you some money. The other thing about using SiteGround is don't just use the generic hosting, use their managed service for WordPress. Now you'll see here, we talked about this right at the beginning of the presentation. Two of the key issues with WordPress are site speed and security. What do you get with this special hosting? It's engineered for speed and it's built for security. It's specially crafted for WordPress. So this is always the best bet with WordPress. Get bespoke WordPress hosting. Don't go for generic hosting because you won't get the best kind of service that way. So SiteGround.com is my recommendation. If I had a second recommendation, it would still be HostGator.com. HostGator I used for probably between 2008 as long as 2016. I think that's when I lost my last HostGator account. It served me extremely well for many years. It's absolutely fine if you've only got a single account on it. The only reason I started to have problems was because I had so many WordPress installations, and then subsequently the support was not as brilliant. But I got to tell you, I recommend SiteGround. Their support is excellent. Whenever I have a problem, and some of my problems have been quite geeky, they're back to me usually within half an hour with a resolution. So I feel quite confident in recommending them to you. This is my SiteGround account. And when you've registered for your own SiteGround account, this is where you will be taken to. Now, the only difference in my account is that, of course, I have two accounts. You're only going to have one account. So we need to click on the Manage Account button. And in this case, I'm actually going to go to the second account here. So you click on Manage Account, it will take you through to a control area. And I am going to click on Go to cPanel. And cPanel just stands for Control Panel. Control Panel. So click on Go to cPanel. Now the easiest way to do this is to get the very basic startup account. And that way, there's nothing geeky at all to do. SiteGround will link your URL, your domain name, with your account, and you will not have to get into anything complicated. You can simply install WordPress onto the site. It will connect with your domain name, and there's no geeky stuff at all to do. However, if you are bringing a domain name into your SiteGround account, you may have to click what's called an add-on domain. And what SiteGround allows you to do is to add several URLs, several domain names to your account. And you can see here that I have got several domain names added to this account. So the main domain name, the core domain name, which is what you'll have if you've only got one, is paulteague.com. But I also have extra domain names and extra WordPress installations on this one hosting package. I've got reportback.biz, which is a different non-author project. I've got selfpublishingjourneys.com, which is my podcast. I've got self-publishing in a circle, which is just a spare domain name that I'm going to use for this example. And I've got one of my book sites on here, thesecretbunker.net. So if you needed to add a new domain name to your account, you would add it in these fields at the top, just here. But if you've followed my advice, you've just got a basic SiteGround account with just one domain name, it's going to be really easy. You can go to your cPanel home and I'll show you exactly what you need to do here. Now, don't be put off by this cPanel, this control panel. I've used this for years and years and years, and to be honest with you, there are very few areas that I use. I probably use that area very regularly. I use this is what we're about to use. And I use the emails area just down here. That's pretty well, those ones are, that one, there we go. That's pretty well all I use, and I don't use this one here. So you don't need most of what you see on the screen. What I want you to head for is the WordPress installer. Now we're doing here exactly what we did with hosting, or it just looks different. The process is exactly the same. So this is something called Softaculous. Softaculous is basically a script installer. It's going to install WordPress for us. It's going to take all the geekery out of it, just like Hostinger did. And you can see here are my existing installations. Now I want to do a new install, so I click on the install button to do that. And I need to choose the link that I want. So I'm using HTTPS. I'm not going to go into detail there. You will probably use HTTP. I don't want to get distracted by some geekery just there, but just you will use that, which will be your default. Then we could choose the domain name that we want to link. I want to link self-publishing inner circle, which is just a spare domain name I happen to have that I'm not using at the moment. I'm not going to add site name and site description. I told you not to do that in Hoster. It doesn't matter whether you do, whether you don't, because we can change it later anyway. And you'll notice here that what this service does is it puts in a horrible username and a horrible password so that we've got that core security built in. Again, this is one of the most common reasons for WordPress getting hacked, because people don't use decent usernames and passwords. So this system generates decent usernames and passwords for you. So I'm going to have to keep these. In fact, what I'm going to do is I'm going to create easy ones, because I'm just using this for example. This is actually going to get deleted as soon as I've finished this presentation. So it doesn't matter that you can see it here. But I'm just going to create something really easy to use just in case I get logged out, and I'm going to put a email in here where I can receive the information. When you put this email in, by the way, it's really important. Don't put one of those emails in that you save just for spam emails. This needs to be an email where you can actually receive and access emails simply, because if you lock yourself out of your WordPress installation, this is the email that we'll be using to reset your password. Okay, and what I do recommend that you do is that you select this plugin, Limit Login Attempts, because this is going to be a great security plugin. I'll talk to you about it later, but just let's check that box because it's a good one to have. And we're not going to choose a theme to install. We're just going to take those options and click on the install button. And just like Hostinger did, this is going to install a WordPress site for us in just a matter of minutes. Okay, so once that blog is installed, we're given the links that we need to access it. So we've got the admin link and the public facing link there. So if we click on the public link, there is our site. It looks slightly different from the Hostinger one. There's the Hostinger one. What happens is that the installers put different bits of information in. So it's the same theme. It's got the plant pot just there. Let's just skip to the SiteGround one. They put a couple of holding pages in and things just to show you what it would look like. But we've basically created there with Hostinger a blog, and there with SiteGround a blog. 2 WordPress installations in a matter of minutes. You've seen how easy it is. This really isn't geeky at all. The key area that we need to access is the admin area, and we access that via this link on the screen just here. And this is where you need to make sure you don't forget your login details. If I add that link to the browser there, it logs us in to our WordPress site. Now, just to convince you that it doesn't matter whether you use Hostinger or not, the slight difference with Hostinger is that it doesn't give you a direct link to that administrative URL. But what I can tell you is that every admin page on WordPress uses this format: wp-login.php. They always use that little extension. So if you don't know what it is, that's where you need to go. So if I click that extension now on my Hostinger blog, we can now log into that. And here we are. This is my Hostinger version of the site. That's the Hostinger one. That's the SiteGround one. Slightly different with Hostinger in that Hostinger is trying to force a couple of plugins on us just here. So with Hostinger, the first thing you need to do, just to bring you up to a level with whether you've used SiteGround or not, is to click that plugins link there. Don't worry too much about what you're doing, but what I'd like you to do is to click on this Clef plugin, deactivate, and I would like you to click 1, 2, 3, leave limit login attempts, we want to keep that, Akismet, Clef and Hello Dolly. Click on this bulk actions button here, delete, then apply, OK, and they're gone. Click on the dashboard button at the top here, and we're exactly where we are with SiteGround. So this is my Hostinger installation. This is my SiteGround installation. We're both in the dashboard. The dashboard looks slightly different. If I get rid of that, for instance, and flick between the two, you'll see that they're fairly similar. The key point is, and this is where we're going to be working next, that these menus are exactly the same on both sides. Those menus there. And that's where we're going to do our next work. For this demonstration, I'm going to show you how to create a very simple author website. This uses something called the Hemingway theme, which is a free theme. And as you can see, it creates a perfectly reasonable starter site for any author. Now, I'm not going to show you how to do absolutely everything on this site, but I am going to show you how you can just create a very basic author site using this same theme. Now, if you want to take a close look at this website, it's at paulteague.net. paulteague.net, and you can take a look at the site that I've built using this theme. Again, for the purposes of this demonstration, I'm going to use my proper domain name, the one that I installed on SiteGround, selfpublishinginnercircle.com. And I'm now in the administrative area of that site. The first thing that we need to do, and you're going to have to get used to working at the side here. The first thing we're going to do is we need to change a few core settings just here. It doesn't matter whether you're using the Hostinger version or the SiteGround version, you need to do this. It's the same with every installation. So when we click on the settings, click on the general button just there, we need to give our site a title. So I'm going to call this Paul Teague's author site. And I'm going to give it a tagline, which is find out about Paul Teague's latest book, something very simple like that. So site title and tagline. We don't need to change anything here at all, but we do need to click the Save Changes button. With writing, with the next little drop down menu on the side here, we don't need to change anything yet. But with reading, we will need to. One of the things I must warn you about is never click that button. Leave that button unchecked. Okay, so make sure you don't touch that. The most important thing that we're going to change on this site is this permalinks button, which is in the settings drop down menu. You must change this, and this is great for search engine optimization. I want you to change the permalinks structure to post name. Now again, you don't really need to understand what this is and what's happening, but in very simple terms, we're telling WordPress that we just want our blog, our page links to be expressed in a very simple form. We don't want them to be with page numbers and dates and all sorts of extraneous information. We just want it to be a simple post name format. And you must always do this. It's one of the first jobs you must do whenever you install WordPress, is click that post name button and click Save Changes. And once you've done that, you can forget all about it. The next place I want you to head for is this plugins area up here. I want to get rid of a few plugins that SiteGround has put in there for us that I don't want. So we go to Installed Plugins, and Akismet, Hello Dolly and Jetpack, I want to make sure are deactivated, and I want to delete them. So we check the boxes. We're going to click Bulk Actions up here. We're going to delete them, and to delete them we have to click the Apply button. Now interestingly, the two objections that I mentioned right at the beginning of this presentation, that WordPress can be slow and that WordPress can be insecure, this is how we deal with it. And this is why I prefer you to use SiteGround. Just pay the little bit of money. I think it's about £35 for a year using my affiliate link with a domain name. That's a year's worth of hosting plus a domain name for about £35 a year with SiteGround. They give you 2 plugins for free and built in. The Loginizer is a plugin which helps you to fight against brute force attacks by blocking logins for the IP after it reaches maximum retries allowed. So basically what this will do is if somebody tries to hack your WordPress site, it will lock them out of the site. That applies to you, by the way, so don't forget your password, otherwise you'll get locked out of the site. Make sure you've got it written down somewhere safe. SG Optimizer basically helps to optimize your WordPress site to just make it go faster. It just makes it work better. So again, SiteGround has helped you to deal with the 2 major objections that people will have with WordPress: security, speed and performance. They've given you 2 plugins to help you with that. Okay, let's go back to the menus, and I want to explain to you the difference between posts and pages. Let's start with pages first of all. If you remember right at the beginning of this presentation, I said to you that an old-fashioned static website used to just have basic information like about me, contact me, just pages like that never really change. Well, a WordPress site also has pages just like that, pages that seldom ever change. So this is where we create our about me's and our contact me pages. And to do that, it's very straightforward to do. We click add new. Let's just create an about me page. About me. Just give it some text. About Paul Teague. And as you'll see at the top here, we've got what you see is what you get editor. So we could bold, italic, we've got bullet points there, we've got numbered lists, we could create block quotes, that's page alignment. You can add a link if you want to. So if I wanted to link to this site, for instance, just here, if I wanted to link to that page, I would highlight that web link, I would copy it, then here I would highlight the text that I want to be clickable, that I want to be linked, click the chain, drop my link in there. A little tip here is just click the cog and make it open in a new tab. I'm not going to get into the geekery of why that is, it's just good practice, especially if you're linking outside of your site to a third-party site. Click update, and you've now got what's called a clickable link. If I click on that, it takes me to that page. The other thing I need to show you here is images. How do we upload an image? We do that through the Add Media section. So if I click on Add Media, we can then select a file or go to our media library. Well, we don't have anything in our media library just yet, so we need to upload files. So click Select Files. If I just find an image, this is just an image that I used for the slides. Let me just upload the image. That's now uploaded to our library. We can put a title on it. If I just put author page and an alt text. Alt text is a good thing to do because it allows people who are blind or visually impaired to access your website. And then we could choose whether we want that to be full size. That's quite a big picture actually, so I don't want it to be full size. Large, medium, or a thumbnail. I'm going to go for large in this case. I'm going to resize it. So I don't even have to resize it. I don't have to crop my photos in WordPress. It allows me to change the sizes myself. I'm then going to click Insert into Page down here. And then we have uploaded and added a picture to our page. Now I know this is just a test page. It's not very good content. But in a very short amount of time, we have created our first page on WordPress. We now need to publish that. And we can either, we don't have to publish it if we don't want to. We can save it as a draft if you want to. You don't actually have to publish it if you're not ready. Just save it as a draft. If we want to, we can publish it on a later date. So if you wanted to publish on the December 2017 or 2018, you could just schedule that if you want to. Well, I don't want to do that. I want to publish it now. So to publish it right now, I click the publish button like this, and immediately I have now got an About Me page. I've published my first page on WordPress. We can click on that view page link, and there it is. That's what it looks like on my site. Now what you have to remember is that there's a couple of things here that we see because we are the owner of this site. Your customers are not going to see that edit button. We see it because we're the site administrator. Your customers are not going to see that at the top of the page. You see that because you own the site. You are the administrator of the site. We can go into that page and edit it if we want to as the site administrator. And by the way, remember when we did the permalinks? I just said I want a very simple site structure. That's the permalink. It's just about me. It reflects the title that I put at the top of the page there, and that is good for SEO, search engine optimization. Now, if I take you to my paulteague.com blog, this is probably the best way to show you how we use these pages. On my blog up here, we've got some basic pages. We've got the contact page, the testimonials page, we've got the About Me page. So those are static pages. They don't ever change. I did that some time ago. Every now and then I'll update it if there's some new information. But every site needs those basic pages. About Me, I've got a recommended section there, testimonials, contact, and a help desk area. So those are the sorts of pages that I would create using WordPress pages, not posts. Now, this is a blog. So as well as having those static pages, I also have blog posts. And here are my blog posts just here. These are the blogs. Now, they pretty well look the same as a page does, but the thing about posts is that when we start to create posts, we can order them. So on this page, I've just told my WordPress site, just put the latest post, which happens to be this one, put it to the top of the queue. And every time I create a new post, it just automatically moves to the top of the pile. It moves to the top of a long pile of blog posts. So when you write posts, when you're writing articles, author articles, whatever they are on your WordPress site, you need to write those as posts, not pages, because posts behave in a slightly different way. So going back to my site, to create posts, we need to click at the top here, click on the posts, and I'm just going to add very quickly 3 new posts. Now, SiteGround has actually given us a post here that I don't want. So to get rid of that post, we could just hover our cursor over there and click on the trash button. So if I hover my cursor there, click trash, that's now been binned. But for those of you of a nervous disposition who think you can wreck sites by deleting things, well, don't worry. That page, although it's trashed, is still in the bin. We can go to that bin, and if we want to, we can bring it back, we can restore it, we can bring it back from the dead if we have to, if you did that in error. Or, if you're absolutely sure that you want rid of it, you can delete it permanently. I do want rid of that one. So back to the posts area, and we're going to add new post. And all I'm going to do here is I'm going to create 3 posts. I'm going to call them post 1. I'm going to call them post 2 and post 3. Now we do exactly what we did with pages here. So once we've created that post, we can save draft, we can publish it in the future, or just straight publish it, which is what I'm going to do right now. So I'm going to publish that post. Then I'm going to create a new one by clicking this add new button up here. Add new. I'm going to call that one post 2, and publish. Then I'm going to create a third post, which these are just blog posts if you think about it in that way. Post 3, and publish that post. Then I'm going to go back to my posts area. And you'll see we've now got 3 posts on our blog. Now, if I go to the front page of that site, you'll see that we can link those posts. It doesn't look very nice. It's not very aesthetically pleasing, but automatically in the recent posts page, our posts have been listed just there. Now, the next thing I want to do is I want to get rid of this theme. I don't like this theme at all. It's not one that I recommend, so I'm going to get rid of that now, having created those pages. I want to use the Hemingway theme, which is going to make my site look a little bit more like this. So let me show you how you would do that. By the way, anytime you go and preview your site, you can click on this link just here, and it will take you to your dashboard. So I'm going to go back to my dashboard, and to change that theme, I need to click on Appearance. If I click on Appearance and Themes, the great thing about WordPress is that you can get loads and loads of free themes, and you can pay for themes. Now, I actually pay for themes. So I use Thrive Themes, Divi Themes, which is by a company called Elegant Themes, and I use Optimize Press. Now, you should not use those if you're a beginner. They're more advanced themes. What I would recommend at first, while you're getting used to this, is you should just look for free themes. I'm going to recommend one for you as an author to get you started really fast. Now, themes are easy come, easy go. So you'll see that what WordPress has done for us here, they've installed 3 free themes for us. And this is the theme that we're using at the moment. It is the active theme. I'm going to delete 2 of these. So to delete 2 of them, I click on the theme, and then I scroll right down there. It's hidden right at the bottom there, and I'm going to click the delete button. Are you certain? Yes, I am. I want rid of it. Same with this one. Delete. OK, and it's gone. So we've only got the installed theme left. WordPress will not let us delete that theme because we've always got to have one theme on the site. So we can't delete that now. We've got to bring another one in before we can delete that. Now, just to explain what a theme is, effectively a theme is how your WordPress site looks. It's the colouring, the styling, the way it looks. That's what a theme is. So we could get some free themes, and I'm going to ask you to look for the Hemingway theme. To do that, we click Add New at the top there. Let me just go back and do that again. I want to highlight that button. We click Add New. Remember, we're in the appearance area just here. Click Add New. And then we are going to search the free themes. Now, do have a look at these free themes. You'll see there's loads and loads and loads of free themes here. You can choose whichever one you like. If you don't like the theme I'm recommending for you now, just choose one that you like. Latest themes, favorite themes, loads and loads of themes. There's thousands, hundreds and thousands of themes on there, all for free. Seriously, they're all for free. We're going to just search for Hemingway. This is the one that I want you to use in this example. So if you search for Hemingway, there is the Hemingway theme. To install this theme, we're going to hold our cursor over it and click Install. Now, what WordPress does is it installs it, but it doesn't activate it. It's a two-step process to add a theme. So you can see here we need to activate that theme. So if I click Activate on that theme, that's now going to remove the WordPress theme we had. So you can see that now Hemingway is the active theme. And this 2017 theme that SiteGround installed for us, we can get rid of it now. We can delete it. I don't want that theme. So to delete it, I click on it. I click the delete button down here. I always like to keep a tidy WordPress installation. Let's get rid of that. And we are now using the free Hemingway theme. And Hemingway is the theme I used to create that site. If we go and take a look at the site now, we can do that by clicking at the top there and clicking on Visit Site. So if I visit the site, you will see now that the look and feel of my site is instantly much more simple. We've got this top banner area just here. It's brought in my title, Paul Teague's author site, find out about Paul Teague's latest books. And it's brought in the first blog posts there, but also it's created a menu with my About Me page just up there. So if I click on the About Me page, it brings in the About Me page. We've also got quite a lot of clutter down here, which I'm going to tidy up a little bit and show you how to do that. So by adding the Hemingway theme, we very quickly and very simply just change the look and feel of our WordPress site. None of this is magic. It's all very simply done, and it's all being done at the moment for free, with the exception of the cost of the SiteGround hosting. Okay, so let's go back to the administrative area by clicking up here and clicking on Dashboard. What do I need to do next? I want to tidy things up on my blog a little bit. So I click on Appearance, and I'm going to now click on Widgets. So we've clicked on Appearance and Themes so far. I'm going to go to Widgets. Let's click on the Widgets area. Now, widgets are these little bits here. Those are widgets. It's where I've put my tweets and my library thing link and my Goodreads link. Now, in this short presentation, I'm not going to have time to show you how to do slightly more advanced things like that, but I am going to just explain the basics of widgets. We have in this area, and let me just go to the site so I can flick between the two. At the moment, we've got lots of widgets in the first widget area. So footer A, footer B, footer C correspond to these areas here, and this is where footer A goes, footer B will go there, and footer C will go there, but we haven't got anything in footer B and footer C yet. It's put it automatically all into footer A, and it looks horrible. It's long and horrible. So what we could do with that is we can have the search of the recent posts in footer A. Maybe we can move recent comments. Can you see I'm just dragging and dropping these? Recent comments and archives in footer B, and categories and meta, whatever that is, make sure we get it in the right place, in footer C. If I then refresh the site so it shows the changes, you'll see that instantly I've now evened it off a little bit. All of a sudden it's more balanced. It looks much better. Now, the other thing I would say to you is frankly, the search of the recent posts is probably worth having. Probably nothing else really there is very much worth having. So what I'm going to recommend that you do, and this is only very, very simple, there are many more things we could do. What I'd rather you did was, add your Facebook page, add your Twitter page like I've done. We don't have time to do that right now. So here's what I'm going to suggest you do, is that by clicking on the little arrows in the top right hand corner here, we can actually get rid of these. So I'm going to get rid of recent comments. So I'm just clicking the delete buttons here. I'm going to get rid of archives. I'm going to get rid of categories, and I'm going to get rid of meta. I'm then going to move recent posts into footer B, and then just for the sake of making sure I've got something in every one of those columns, I'm going to take one of the options on the left hand side here, a calendar, and just drop it into footer C. So if I now go back to the site, you've always got to refresh, by the way, so it shows the changes. We've now got a search button, we've got our most recent posts, and we've got a calendar. So at least it's got something sensible on there in the meantime. And remember, your posts, when you've written them, are not going to be called post 1, post 2, post 3. They're going to have proper titles, so they are going to look a little bit more interesting than my posts. But just for starters, it gets things going. It just makes it look okay. So let's just organize the widgets in that way. The next thing I want to do is I want to go to the menus. Now the menus are also in the appearance area, and show you how to do a menu. Now, if you remember, if we go back to the site here, Hemingway, this theme that we've used, has created an About Me area automatically. So how does it do that? Well, we could look in the menus to see how that's done. So I'm clicking in the menus area now, and what you'll see here is that we have this basic menu, and the menu has brought in the home page and the About Me page. We can add to that menu pages or posts. So if I add post 1, post 2, post 3, add those to the menu, create that menu, and give it a proper title. So I'm going to call it main menu, so I know what that menu is. Save menu, just like that. We then need to manage the location. So at the moment, what's happened is Hemingway has just brought in an automatic menu there. We need to actually create our own menu, which is what I've just done, and then say to Hemingway, use my menu, main menu. Click Save Changes. So just to repeat what we did there, I created my own menu, which had home, About Me, and the 3 posts on it. I then went into Manage Locations up here, and then I said to Hemingway, I taught Hemingway that I don't want it to use its default menu, I want it to use my menu. So I brought my menu in, clicked Save, and if I now go to the website, you will see that we've brought my menu in here. Home, About Me, Post 3, Post 2, and Post 1. We've now got a menu on our site. Now if we want to change the order of that menu, so we could just drag and drop like this, Post 1, Post 2, hang on, making a mess of this, Post 1, Post 2, and Post 3. Always remember to save, otherwise those changes won't stick. Click Save. And then if I refresh the menu, watch the changes. Post 1, Post 2, Post 3. The other thing you can do with menus is you can have sub-menus. So if you just pull that in one, like that. So I've made Post 2 and Post 3 a sub-menu of Post 1, just by pulling the post in and out. Come on, let me have it. Let me take it back. There we go. You can pull them in and out like this. Bit fiddly sometimes. Always save like this. Always remember to save. And if I go back to the live site and refresh it, you'll see Post 1 now has that little arrow at the side, and we have created submenus. And you'll need submenus when you start to get a very long menu along here, because if it goes over more than one line, it gets a bit unwieldy. So sometimes, as I've done on my site here, sometimes you have to just create submenus so that you can fit everything in along that line, because you've only got limited space. It looks horrible if you go over more than one line. So use submenus to help you to manage your menus on a blog. Now in this case, I don't want those to be submenus. I'm just going to take those out again. There we go, and save that. I want them to be main menu items. One more thing, by the way, really handy thing that you could do on WordPress with your menus. Click the screen options up here. This is a top tip actually that not many people know. And click link target up here. You've got to do this in the menu section. Then close the screen options. If you want to add links to your Facebook page or your Amazon author page, you can now use things called custom links. So if I go to Amazon, Paul Teague, and find my Amazon author page. So there we go, that's an Amazon author page. If I take that link, right click and copy that link, go back to my menus, in the custom links area up here, cut and paste that link to my author page, and then call it Amazon. Just call that link Amazon. We've got to click the Add to Menu button, add it to the menu, and then one extra step just here that will just make you look like a web professional. Make sure that you open that in a new tab so it doesn't take you away from the site. Click Save Menu. By the way, you will not get that option, Open Link in a New Tab, if you haven't checked that box up there. Took me a couple of years before I figured that one out, so that's a really nice little ninja tip for you. Having saved that menu, we can now go back to our Hemingway installation, and you'll see that I now have an Amazon button. And what's really cool about this is when I click on it, it will open my Amazon author page in a brand new link. It's very powerful stuff. This is very simple to do. Two more things that I need to show you as part of this presentation. We need to head back to the themes again. Remember, themes is within appearance on these menus just here. And I need to show you how you change the header. So at the moment, we've got this very nice image up here of a barn in the countryside. To change that header, to customize it with your own books, then click on the header button for the theme. We're going to need to customize this. And you'll see just here, this is where the image is. This is where we upload the image. And you need to add new image. Add new image. So you will have to create a nice banner for that site. And can you see just here, suggested image dimensions are 1280 times 416. Let me show you how to solve that problem using a site called Canva. Here is canva.com. It's free. You'll see I'm a huge user of this. I use it for all sorts of graphics. So canva.com is the site you need to go to. You need to register for that. And we are going to create a custom design, use custom dimensions. So if I click on custom dimensions here and just see it was 1280 times 416. 1280 times 416. What Canva does for us is very quickly and without any geekery, it allows us to create the banner in the size that we need. Now, I'm not going to give you a tutorial on Canva just here, but if you go to my blog, there is a video tutorial on how to use Canva on my blog at paulteague.com. Instead, I'm just going to make a very, very quick banner for this site. So I'm going to use the background colors just here. And I'm just going to pick a bluey green color. I'm going to click on the text button just here and add some text. I'm going to add a heading, and I'm just going to make that Paul Teague's author site. By the way, you can add images, book covers, all sorts of things in Canva, but I don't have the time to do a tutorial on that right now. But there we go, let's pop that right in the center. And then I can click the download button just here. Download that image. And then scrolling back to my WordPress site, what I need to do here is upload the file. I've just created that file on Canva, and now I need to add it to my WordPress site. It's in my downloads, I think. There it is. Let's upload the site. Let's give it an alt tag. Just cutting and pasting the same text there. Select and crop. I don't need to crop the image because it's beautifully sized. So we can skip cropping. And there we now have a banner. Now, you'll notice that I've not been very clever because I've put my text right over that label. Okay, so that's fine. What I would do there is I would probably, if I were doing this for real, what I would do with this site, and actually maybe I should do this in the example, is remove the text like that. Let's get rid of that text. let's go to my upload. So I actually have uploads of my book covers here. Let's grab a book cover there. Let's grab a book cover there. These are already preloaded. Let's download that banner. This is why I love Canva. If you make a mistake like I just did there, and bear in mind I'm fairly experienced with this, but I still make massive mess ups like that, we can just put this right. And this is one of the things I really want you to get used to with this. Nothing is damaged, nothing goes wrong. We don't delete anything. We just go back and fix it if we break something. So if I upload that banner and just change the alt tag, in a matter of minutes we've solved our problem. Skip cropping, and now I've got a site that works, having made a mess up of it. So we need to, when we're changing the banner, click Save and Publish. Save and Publish. We're looking pretty good as far as the site's involved. All we've got to do now is get some key plugins on the site. So if I just close that down, let's go and have a look at how we're looking at the moment. We've got posts on the site, we've got About Me, we've got 3 posts there, and we've got a link to our Amazon author page. Instantly, this looks like an author website, and we've done this in less than an hour. So let's go and add some extra bits now, and those are going to be plugins, and plugins are going to create the security and the functionality that's really going to help your blog. So to do that, we're going to click up here. We're going to go to our dashboard again. And we're going to click now on this plugins section, plugins. Now, we've already got 2 plugins installed. Now, plugins work in exactly the way as themes do. They're free. I do pay for some plugins, but they're free. Many of them are free, and the ones I'm going to show you right now are free. So to find new plugins, we need to click Add New. If I click Add New here, and I'm going to install my favorite plugins. One plugin that I love is All-in-One WP Security. This is how I keep my site secure. And you'll see that just by searching for that site, All-in-One WP Security, here's the site. Now, there are other things here, but this is the one that I want to use. A good way of checking plugins, by the way, is to make sure they've been updated recently, to make sure they're compatible with your version of WordPress, to make sure they have lots and lots of active installs, and to make sure that they get great feedback. It's almost like buying something on eBay. Just check the feedback. So that's a good WordPress plugin to install. And to install it, we're just going to click that button and it will install it now. I'm not going to activate it just yet because I want to stay on this page. Next plugin, Fast Secure Contact Form. I entered that up there, did a search for it, and there it is. It's the one by Mike Chalice. Once again, it's been updated regularly. It's compatible with my version of WordPress. It's got loads of reviews and it's got lots of installs. So all we need to do is click Install on that now. The next plugin that I want to install is All-in-One SEO. And it's the one by Michael Torbert. That's the one I want you to use, Michael Torbert. So we're going to install that one too. Meets all of our criteria again, by the way. Then I want you to install Google XML sitemaps. This is going to be great for our SEO on the site. Google XML sitemaps. Click Install now. Next, we're going to install Anti-Spam. It's this one by Web Vitali. And then we're good to go. As a basic complement of plugins, we're good to go. We've taken care of security and SEO in there at the same time. Now I need to activate those plugins so that they work. So if we click on Installed Plugins, they're all installed, but they're not activated. So let's check the boxes. Use bulk actions again, click Activate, click Apply, and all of those plugins will now be activated. Now I don't have a lot of time in this short presentation to talk you through things, but All-in-One WP Security will give you as much security as you ever need on your WordPress blog. Now you do not need to activate all of the security that is in this plugin. If you do, you'll be so secure. I once did it, by the way. So this is a lesson I've learned, that it was so secure even I couldn't get into my own website. I locked myself out and I couldn't remember how to get back into it. So don't add all of the rules here, but you might, for instance, just want to something that is a good thing to do for starters is to activate, say, the spam prevention, activate the firewall, and activate the brute force sections. But other than that, you probably need to get a little bit tuition, a bit more support on what to activate just there. Let's go back to the plugins. You don't need to do anything with the spam plugin, anti-spam. What you will find is that when your plugin gets more active, you get a lot of spam comments on it. And to be honest with you, anti-spam is a nice free plugin, and I found that it keeps me pretty well spam free. Let me show you how Fast Secure Contact Form works. This is an amazing plugin. If we click on the settings button there, what this generates is something called a shortcode. A shortcode. And shortcodes are wonderful things, as you're about to see. You need to grab your shortcode, and it's the same on every website. So if I just grab that shortcode, right click and copy, I'm going to head up to Pages on my site. Pages. I'm going to create a new page, which I'm going to call a Contact Me. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to copy that shortcode into the page. I'm going to click Publish. And then when I view that page, you will see that we now have a Contact Me form with one of these capture buttons to stop spam, that people can contact me and just get in touch. And I haven't had to do anything geeky at all. All we've got to remember to do with that Contact Me form is to go to the menus. Let me just refresh this page. I've got two pages open there. Add it to the menus. There it is, because we've just saved it. It's in the options up there. Click Add to Menu. Add it to the menus. Click Save Menu. Go back to the site to have a look at it. And there is our Contact Me form, just there. All done using a free plugin. Back to the plugins. This is the last one that I need to show you. Oh no, I've got two more to show you. I need to explain what Google XML Sitemaps does. You don't need to worry about this. Don't change the settings. But in very simple terms, in SEO terms, you need what's called a sitemap. And a sitemap, again, in very simple terms, it lets the search engines know what the content is on your site. So you need a sitemap, and you've just created one. You don't have to worry about it. It will automatically update in the background. The most important thing that this particular plugin does is it lets Google, Bing know about your website. Effectively, it says, you who over here, we've got a website, we need you to index us and start to show us in Google. So you don't need to change any of the settings here, just leave it as it is, but this is a great free plugin to enhance your SEO. Finally, the last plugin I need to mention to you, and there are many other plugins, by the way, I'm just giving you a basic compliment here. We need to take a look at the all-in-one SEO pack. Now what that has now done is when you go to one of your posts, it has created, let's go to post 1 and click edit on that post so that we can take a look at it. What that has now done is added a couple of fields at the bottom of each of your posts. You can now give it a title and a description. Now if you have a look at the top here, I know we've called it post 1, we haven't called it anything descriptive, but we can now change how Google sees and displays that content. So you'll see that it changes at the top there. So this should be a little teaser to your post, giving us a feel of what it's about. And you'll see that at the top here, this is what it's going to look like in Google. And this is a really important part of your SEO. For every page and post that you do, make sure that from now on you complete those fields from the all-in-one SEO pack. Make sure you update and save it, of course, but that's really, really important for getting found in the search engines. Now, if I just show you a live site that I use this on and how it works, you'll get a feel for what it looks like on a busier website. I've just moved us over to Self-Publishing Journeys here, which is a proper live site, which I do properly so that it gets found in the search engines. And this is where you will see the fields that I have completed using that plugin. I do it for every single page, and this is how you will get found in the search engines. That's at a combination of the permalinks structure that I've shown you, and also using that Google XML Sitemaps plugin. So all of these things put together will really set you up well for getting discovered in the search engines. There's one more trick I need to show you before we leave the site today, and we need to go back to the dashboard. You need to be in the dashboard area for this, and I just need to explain one last thing to you. In the settings area down here, we could adjust a setting. Now we've created pages and we've created posts, we can now change one more essential setting, and it's in the reading section just here. In the reading section, we now get a choice, and you only get this choice once you've created pages and posts. We can decide what goes on the front page. Now at the moment, if I just scroll away from here and show you the live site, at the moment on the home page we are displaying our blog posts. It just puts the latest blog post at the top of the page. Now we can say to the site, show the last 10 blog posts, the last 2 blog posts, the last 20 blog posts. So at the moment I haven't done 10 blog posts, but what that will do, if you remember what it looked like on my own sites, let me go to self-publishing journeys. I've got this set to show, I can't remember how many posts, maybe it's about 20 on there, and then when it reaches 20 it automatically creates another page, and it automatically creates that scroll through menu. So we determine how many posts go on the front page here, and you decide how many you want that to be. The other thing is we don't have to have our blog posts on the front page if we don't want to. If we want to, we can select, I want to see a static page, and we can say I want it to be about me or contact me or any other page that you have created. In this case, if I click about me and save the changes, then go back to the live site, you will see that we've now got rid of those 3 blog posts and we've set a page. Now on my site, the page is an introductory page. That's the page that I've set for that. You might want to do something similar. So in a very short time, within an hour, and with lots of explanation and distractions, you've seen how I have created a free author site in front of your eyes. Now you could use Hostinger if you want to do that. It's exactly the same in Hostinger. Or you could use SiteGround. I would recommend that you use SiteGround, that you get a proper domain name for your business, and that you build up this website. Now, as it grows, you can change the theme, you can pay for plugins, you can do all sorts of things with it. But within a very short space of time, we've created an eye-catching, a fully functional author website that even has cool things on, like a contact me form. That's all we have time for in today's presentation. This presentation does come with some extra slides, which I'm just clicking through now. I show you how to use the add-on domain function within SiteGround in those slides. I've got an image to show you how to install your WordPress blog within SiteGround. I've talked about posts and pages on there. I've talked about WordPress themes. I've reminded you how to find plugins. I've recommended sources of paid for WordPress themes and plugins. So there's a bit more about widgets and menus, all sorts of additional information in the slides. So please do download the slides. I've given you the links to the plugins that I use in the examples. There's much more information in the slides there that I haven't had time to go through in this very short presentation. There's also a discount code if you want to use HostGator rather than SiteGround and try a different hosting company. And finally, I've talked to you about buying your own domains. I've shown you where I get my own domain names from fast hosts. I've given you some tips here of the things you need to think about with your WordPress blog. I've shown you where you will find the WordPress installations, whether you're using HostGator or SiteGround or some other service that offers the cPanel function. I've given you some links to get some help with WordPress if you get stuck and you just need to find a great forum to ask a very simple question and get an answer for it. And finally, this is the most important page. This is where you'll find all of this information. If you go to this link now, paulteague.com/WPAlly, that will take you through to a resources page. On the resources page, you will find the slides. You'll be able to download them. But more importantly, you will be able to get a free PDF copy of my book, Using WordPress for Business. In that book, with screenshots, I show you step by step everything and more that you've seen on the slides today. So if you've looked at the slides and you think, right, I get that, and then you need that little bit of extra step-by-step help, you will be able to get it in my free WordPress guide. And to get that guide, you need to head over right now to the URL that you see on the screen. I hope you found that presentation useful. I really do urge you to have a go at building your own WordPress site. Try it for free. Nothing ventured, nothing gained. Try it on Hostinger first. Have a practice, see how it goes. If you like it, then you can upgrade and get yourself a proper SiteGround or a HostGator website. Do it properly. But remember, when we build a website for our author business, we are investing in our future. It becomes an asset that you can use and build upon and develop in the future years, hopefully as your author career builds. I do hope that you'll give WordPress a try, at least as a result of this presentation, and I hope that you found all this information useful today.